Everybody, this is Dream, and we have a three-game slate that starts at 10 p.m. Eastern today. We have six teams playing in the three games, obviously. So let's get into the injury report. Before I do that, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? For the Nets, we have Irving out. For the Trailblazers, we have Nurkic and Winslow, both questionable. For the Spurs, Collins is out. For the Kings, Keegan Murray is questionable. For the Pistons, Cunningham and Stewart are both out. For the Clippers, PG-13 is questionable. Kawhi Leonard is out, and Kennard is questionable. So instead of having like a traditional thing, since there's only three games, I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to go through each team and kind of tell you exactly what I'm thinking about that particular team. So we're going to start with Brooklyn and Portland here. So for Brooklyn, with the one guy out for them, Irving, I do like Sumner today. He's an interesting spot here for them. Assuming that he does still start, Seth Curry will probably play a pretty good amount of minutes as well. But Sumner has played really good as the starter, and his price point here on FanDuel is actually too cheap. Then we'll also look at Curry, who should be coming off the bench, but he should get a good complement of minutes. He is extremely scoring dependent, though. 20 to 25 minutes for him. He should be. He is very scoring dependent, though, but he definitely has the upside in the particular matchup to do it. And those are kind of the. And then also Claxton. Sorry, I meant to mention him. He is a guy that, even though he didn't play good the last two games because he's been hurt, if he gets a full complement of minutes, he'd be a good play. But you can tell that his minutes kind of fluctuate a little bit. But I do think he's in a plus matchup here. As for Portland, it really depends on Nurkic, and with him, Eubanks gets the biggest boost if he doesn't play. Now, he's not a guy that really is going to 6x or 7x on you, but he could be a good value play on the slate if Nurkic doesn't play. If Nurkic does play, he actually becomes kind of an interesting play today. I do feel like most of the players on the Trailblazers a little bit overpriced. Lillard is actually reasonable, though, here on FanDuel, and so he'd be somebody that I would at least consider as a good option on this figure slate. Then we're going to look at the San Antonio Spurs and the Kings. So for the Spurs, Keldon Johnson is my top overall guy here. He's just been really good and pretty consistent. He's had a couple off games, but he's been solid most of the season. Trey Jones fits in the same box. I think he's a guy that's been pretty consistent and pretty safe play. And you could even say that for Vassell a little bit, but he's been a little bit less ideal lately. And then obviously starting center Jacob Poeltl looks interesting today. Even though his price point has come up, he's still been pretty consistent this season. And so he's somebody you have to take a look at. As for the Kings, Sabonis and Fox have both played extremely well, and this is a really good matchup for both of them. Fox is a little bit more expensive than I'd like, but Sabonis is an alright play, I think, on the slate. And then we'll look at Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes. Both these guys have some upside, especially if Keegan Murray doesn't play. And then even when we get deeper into the bench here, we're going to have some other options like Malik Monk, who looks kind of interesting today. But he is a little bit overpriced on this particular slate. And then Terrence Davis would also be in play as well after having a massive game last game. But again, he doesn't play enough minutes, so you do have to be careful there. Then we're going to look at Detroit and the Clippers. So Paul George may not play. It's hard to know at this point of the day for the Clippers. And then Kawhi Leonard is already out. And then of course Covington, Kennard, is also doubtful. So, it might be a group of, John Wall and Zubac, and then Marcus Morris, leading the way, and then have some guys like Norman Powell and Nicholas Batum and Terrence Mann as secondary options. But Wall definitely looks like a great play today, and so does Marcus Morris. I don't like Zubac as much in the matchup, but overall I think that all of the guys on the Clippers ended up playing outside. If George is out, they're all going to get a boost. It's just a little hard to figure out the Clippers' rotation in games like this because each time it happens, it changes and it's different. It seems like there's not a lot of cohesion when it comes to the rotations and stuff. As for the Detroit Pistons, with Cunningham and Stewart out, Jaden Ivey's going to get a nice boost today, and I do think he's one of the top plays on the slate. Also, Bogdanovich is interesting today. And then Marvin Bagley, assuming he ends up starting, he'll be an interesting option. Now, if Sadiq Bey comes back and starts again, he didn't play. He didn't start the last game. He would be an interesting play if he does come back to start with Stewart out. But overall, I don't think he's as good of a play as some of the other guys. And then Killian Hayes, assuming he starts, he's in a top tier option on the slate. But the wild card here for the Pistons is going to be Alec Burks. He has played pretty good in the 2 games he's played. And in the last game that Cunningham was out, he played and got 22 fantasy points and 16 minutes. I think that's definitely something that could happen here. But I could also see them decide to go ahead and start Burks over Hayes, or even have Hayes and Burks start together. So we'll have to wait and see what we see there. But overall, with Cunningham out, that's definitely going to give a big boost to Jaden Ivey. With that said, guys, this is a very small slate. We'll have to see how this thing plays out, obviously. So, especially with injury situations, that will really decide how we're going to build lineup today. But I definitely think this slate is guard heavy in quality, and also at the center position is pretty good. The forward position is a little bit harder today. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.